your look inside the world of ships and shipping. This is Full Ahead.
Well, after his amazing trip to the Åland Islands, Alistair's back in the UK, briefly. You had a great time, didn't you? You met some brilliant people.
Yeah, if you haven't listened to that episode, it was a really fun one to do, to go and visit a different part of the world, meet some real characters out there, and just learn about a different kind of area that I've never been to before. And the whole kind of cruise ferry concept, with people cruising about on ferries, not getting off, and just having a great time and dancing and eating food. And yeah, it's just a different experience. We had a really good time over there.
I'm not jealous at all, but the pictures were superb. Now, one of the recurring themes that comes out, not just in that podcast, but early episodes of the Full Ahead podcast, has been recruitment. This issue about people not filling vacancies in for crew. In fact, I think one CEO you met at in Åland was going perhaps further than most to try and promote the opportunities in his company.
Yeah, I mean, Dan Mikkeler, an absolute character over there from Goodby Shipping, walking around in a big green coat, a big green kind of top hat, and replicating that kind of America 20-30 years ago when they were trying to recruit for the army and your country needs you, and that's what he was trying to do for recruitment, and seems to work for him. But equally, we've seen the BIMCO report highlighting this 5-yearly report that comes out, highlighting just how many seafarers we're going to be short of, not just in the coming 10 years, but in 30 and 40 years. There's going to be a huge issue with shortage of seafarers.
So we thought we'd look more at the world of recruitment and ways into the industry. Later in this season of podcasts, we'll hear from Stena Line, including the company's talent acquisition lead, along with someone who's made the transition from ship to shore.
But right now, we've just pulled up in the car park at Fleetwood Nautical Campus, and we're going to meet some people right at the start of their careers, as well as the employers that are looking to recruit.
This is Full Ahead.
Well, there's some preparations underway for an open day here at the Fleetwood Nautical College, and Alistair, you brought us here. We've had a cracking look around so far, but I think we should talk to the man at the top who's with us to explain what it's all about, don't you?
Yeah, it sounds like a good idea. Let's start with the guy at the helm, Neil Atkinson. You're running the college here at Fleetwood. What's this afternoon all about?
This afternoon's a really important afternoon for us. So it's one of our 2 careers events, where we get all of our sponsoring shipping companies, who you can hear behind us setting up in the hall, to meet with prospective students, prospective cadets that are looking for a career at sea within the maritime industry as their first step into what is really a fantastic industry.
And you know from first hand, because you were an 18-year-old parking your bike over there a few years ago.
Yeah, a few years ago. It's very kind of you. Yeah, I came here at the age of 15, did evening classes here, and got absolutely hooked on a career at sea. I did the cadetship, sailed the world, came back, did all the additional qualifications here at Fleetwood, gained the Master Mariner's qualification, sailed as a ship's captain, and have been back here as head for the last sort of nearly 14 years now, running, which is an absolutely fantastic institution, getting people into our industry.
And it sounds like there are 200 people on the list booked to come and have a look around this afternoon. I know there are talks from current students, there's some tours of the facilities going, and also these sponsoring companies. Can you just explain for our listeners what these sponsoring companies are? What's it all about?
Yeah, so as we look around the room, we've got some names that people will recognise. So we've got Cunard Cruises, we've got Fishers, who manoeuvre an awful lot of cargo around the country. We've got some training management companies such as Clyde Marine. We've got Jusby Maritime, they've got companies such as Dole Yachts, Trinity House, people who are in CPAC, all sorts of different companies that are here looking to recruit the next generation of students. So what will happen is those prospective cadets will meet with those companies, they'll express an interest in joining, the companies will interview them, and hopefully eventually they'll come to us here to start their studies on either what we call a pre-cadetship or a cadetship model.
You're not unique. There are other colleges around the country. How does it work then? How do people choose to come here? You're fighting against each other to attract the greatest number of candidates. How's it work?
We're certainly not fighting against each other. There are 4 main nautical colleges in the UK. There's us here at Fleetwood. We've got South Shields Marine School. We've got Warsash, and we've got City Glasgow College. And what will happen is that, and we know a number of students will go and visit all of those colleges, all of those universities, to decide where they want to go. And what we want to do is to recruit those students that want to come here as a cadet and to gain their qualifications here, recognising others who want to go to other institutions, and we work together to do that.
And the key difference, I guess, I mean, for ex-A level kind of someone finishing at school, wondering about going to university, and of course they can do that and they can come out with a big student debt. and no guarantee of a job. But here it's a little bit different, isn't it? Because here, if you come to Fleetwood Nautical College, you get paid effectively by the sponsoring company. You don't come out with a student loan. You get some money in that goes to the college to fund your studies, for your accommodation here, because you can live on site here. So you're coming out without a student debt, but you're also coming out with an absolute guarantee of a job in the industry you've chosen to work in. That seems a kind of unique package to me.
It is, because we do two things. Yes, you get your academic qualification, so you will leave here hopefully with a Bachelor's of Science in either a nautical science, marine engineering or electrical discipline, but the most important focus is we give you, or you achieve, your certificate of competency. Some people in the industry call it a ticket. Well, it's a lot more than a ticket. It's a certificate of competency, which that enables you to stand watch on the bridge of a ship, stand watch down below in the engine room, and it's that is your ticket into industry. And then you will go and apply to companies to get your first posting, get your first stamp in that book, gain more sea time, and back to us for more qualifications all the way up to Masters or Chiefs.
Well, let's have a good look round before the actual event starts. But before we let you go, I've got to ask you, how has industry changed since you were an 18-year-old fastening your bike against that wall over there? Has it changed?
Absolutely, and if you think at the moment, as an industry, we've just gone through a huge change called the Cadet Training and Modernisation Programme, where the whole curriculum has been literally thrown up in the air with educationalists, employers, the regulator, who play a huge part in this, and has effectively been totally modernised and is continuing to be modernised. So as you go around today, you will find very, very few paper charts. What you will find is an awful lot of electronic charts. So similar for the move from an unaudited survey map to a GPS in a car, that's exactly the same as we're doing. So to go on the bridge of a ship in my day to find no chart would have panicked any mariner. Now you go on the bridge and you've got a full integrated suite of electronic navigation equipment, just like going on a car. Every time I get a hire car for work, there's another gadget, another gizmo added to it. Just the same with ships, just the same.
We were on the bridge of a ferry in Scotland a few weeks ago, and there was no wheel; it was joysticks, which was a bit scary. And you kind of expect to see a decent sized wheel when you see a PlayStation. It's not what you expect in this day and age, but it's becoming more and more common, isn't it?
Absolutely.
And what was even more amazing is that ferry was being driven by Harvey Finney, who is a student who came to this very place. So it's going to be, it's going to be great to see, have a look around, see all the facilities, meet some of the current students, meet some prospective new mariners. And Neil, thank you very much for your time.
You're more than welcome. Have a lovely afternoon.
So we're back inside at Fleetwood Nautical Campus, and we've been joined by Alan Cook. And for me, I really want to understand properly, if I'm a young person and I'm thinking about a career at sea, Alan, what should I do? I mean, obviously, come to an event like this and hear all about it, but what's the process?
So there's a couple of things you can do to start with. There's a website called Careers at Sea. So that's a good place to start. So that's not about us, that's about the industry in general. There's lots of case studies. A lot of the case studies are our former cadets. Definitely one of these open days is a good place to start. So part of my job is to go into schools and colleges and let people know about this.
When you go into schools, what do people say to you? 'Cause I imagine, as we discussed before in the podcast, there's a bit of nervousness about going to sea and away from home, being somehow kind of restrained from using your iPhone. People listen to wedding to. Is that what people are? Young people are saying to you now, that I don't want to leave my home comforts, my mates, and things like that?
Yeah, there's a couple of main things. Number one, not too many people in schools actually know what this industry is. So that's the starting point. I know I'm not going to convince them in the 10-15 minutes in an assembly to do this. I'm going to tell them about it, make sure they understand what it is, what the benefits are, why people do it, and then at least they've got that information. So that's the starting point in schools. In terms of what young people think, I think there is a view that you're away at sea and it's very old school and all the chief engineers and captains are all horrible old men and all that kind of stuff, where actually nowadays it's very, very modern. Wi-Fi, all ships have Wi-Fi, you can call home when you want. Depends on the ships that you work on, obviously, but all the sort of mod cons that you would expect, you're going to get at sea.
So someone's attracted in, they've heard your talk at a school, they've come to an open day, they're excited at the possibility, they're trying to decide whether they want to be a deck or an engine kind of person. How does the process actually work? Do you have to pay to come to here? Do you live here? Do you live at home? How does it actually work?
So there's two So first of all, there's no upper age limit for when you can join. So in classes, we'll have 16, 17-year-olds, we'll have 20, 30 and sometimes 40-year-olds all in the same class. So you can join at any time. The main time when I'm speaking to people is either once they finished high school or once they finished college. So for me, they're the two main times where I'm working with. If you join from high school, it's basically a 4-year process. Okay, so the first year you would come here just like going to a normal college. So you would turn up, do your lessons and go home. At the end of that year, we would work with them to get them a sponsor. And what a sponsor is basically a shipping company who is going to employ them as a trainee officer. And then for the following 3 years, you are then a cadet under a sponsorship. Okay? And what that sponsorship does, it does 3 main things. First of all, they pay for the course, and then they don't pay that back. So once they've finished the course, they've qualified, they're debt free. Okay, so it's not like university where you get a loan and then you have to pay it back. So the company writes that debt off, so you start debt free. The second thing that they do is within that 3 years, you have 2 blocks of 6 months where you go to sea on work experience. Now in that 6-month block, you'll probably be at sea between 4 and 5 months. That might be one long trip, might be broken down into 2 or 3 trips, just depends whatever your company wants.
And that's obviously with the sponsoring company that's sponsoring you, so
Yeah,
you'll be on one of their vessels.
Yeah, so if you're sponsored by Carnival, you'd be on a cruise ship. Yeah, if you're sponsored by Shell, you'll be on one of the Shell ships. Okay, so you do that twice within the 3 years. So phase 2 and phase 4. Phase 2, you are kind of brand new to it. Yeah, so you're going to be doing a lot of watching, a lot of learning. The second time you go in your sea phase, you're going to be more doing because you're getting closer to being qualified. Now every company will pay their cadet an allowance every month. It varies between £700 or £800 up to about £1,000, and that is to cover costs that are associated with the course. So not the course costs, they're already covered. So halls of residence for that first 6 months, so phase 1, though that's the cost. So your allowance will cover that. And normally what happens, the company will pay halls of residence direct, and then whatever's remaining from your allowance they'll send to you. But you get that allowance every month for the 3 years. Okay, so in phase 2, so the second 6 months when you're at sea, that allowance is going into your bank, but when you're on board a ship, all your food's paid for, all your drinks paid for, so that money is just nicely going into your account.
So you're not getting a loan out for the tuition fees or for your living costs.
No.
Is there a guarantee of a job with your sponsoring company, or is there a guarantee of a job in the industry just because of the shortage?
Yeah, a bit of both really. A lot of it depends on individual companies and individual cadets and what they've got in their contract. When you get to the end of your cadetship, you've qualified, you might want to look around and see if there's any other companies that might want to offer you a job. Now there is a minimum salary for a new officer, which is about £30,000. Now if a company has just spent a lot of money on training you, they're probably going to offer you the minimum salary, which is still a good salary as a new officer. However, another company that's maybe not spent all that money training you might be able to offer you slightly more. And you should, in my own opinion, have the freedom to look around. Now in terms of jobs, what you end up with once you've qualified is your academics, so in nautical science or engineering, whatever it is, and then you also end up with something called a COC, a Certificate of Competency. Okay. The COC that we do here is the best in the world because it has no restrictions. And what that means is it lets you work on any ship of any size, in any weather, anywhere in the world. So if you've trained as a deck officer and you're sponsored by a cruise ship company, you've done all your sea time on cruise ships, because the COC is unrestricted, you can then work as a deck officer on any merchant navy ship in the world. So you can move to container ships, oil tankers, private yachts, ferries, research ships. So actually, the opportunities for you to be employed are worldwide and on every single merchant navy ship in the world.
So great to hear from Alan about some of the examples and case studies that he talks about when he goes into schools across Lancashire and beyond to try and encourage people to come to a place like this. Inspiring stuff, wasn't it? But I'm sure, as we know, it's still an uphill struggle, isn't it, to try and recruit?
Yeah, and that's why it's interesting to hear the actual real stories of real people that have come to Fleetwood. So we're joined by Zoe Robinson. Welcome, Zoe, to the Full Head podcast. And you're 6 months into your training, so you've just finished your initial time at Fleetwood before you head out to sea. How did you get here? What attracted you to come and start a cadetship at Fleetwood Nautical Campus? What's your background? What's your story?
I went through school, went to uni. I did 3 A levels and went to the University of Manchester to study German and Russian. It wasn't for me at all, and I left that. Basically, did some odd jobs around the place, a bit of care work. Worked as a stewardess for DFDS on the Dover-Dunkirk route, and on my first day on that job, a man from the MCA that was surveying the ship basically just struck up conversation with me and said, "Oh, you really should do a cadetship," and so pointed in all the right directions, and it was very easy from there. My sponsors, I didn't have an option in terms of the campus that I come to, and I'm so glad, because I do absolutely love Fleetwood.
See, you mentioned kind of how you like it in Fleetwood, but you're not from this area. You've travelled a fair distance to come to Fleetwood.
I have, yeah, 4.5 hours drive from Norwich. But obviously I stay here in the halls of residence, and will be living here in my phase 3 and 5, as well as I've just more or less completed phase 1. I've still got short courses to do.
How has the first year been? What's been the highlight for you? What's been the best thing you've learned?
I absolutely love bridge operations. My tutor, Duncan Taylor, I just absolutely love his teaching style. I've learned so much, and it's just basically about the way weather works. It makes you feel, my friend was saying she didn't like it, but when I explained things to her the way I see it and helped her understand, it just feels quite amazing, like the wonder of the universe, how everything works.
How soon before you go to sea, and where will you go?
Oh, I'm joining a vessel on the 24th of August, so very soon, going to Fiji, and Bali to Fiji, that's the leg that I'm doing. Yeah, I'll be on, funny story, I thought when my manager told me that I heard, and all my friends heard, the Isle of Skye, so I told my parents and everybody, I'm going to Scotland. As it turns out, it's a vessel called the Island Skye, and so I'll actually be in a very different part of the world, one that I've never been to before, and I'm very, very fortunate to have been given this opportunity. So I'll be there for a month. With Trinity House, you get a mixed kind of range of vessels that you can be put on, so I could be put on container ships, maybe a tanker, dredgers, but anything, yeah.
But for your first go, a small cruise vessel in that part of the world doesn't sound like a bad start, to be fair.
Absolutely not. No, I'm really looking forward to it. And they're putting me on there with another cadet who's she's in her phase, well, she will be in her phase 4, so she's had 10 months of experience already at sea, and that would be really, really great for my learning, because I'll have someone that can guide me along.
What would you say to other young ladies kind of going through school, coming out after their A-levels, who maybe haven't even thought about a career at sea? What would you say to those girls?
It's really opening up for us, the opportunities. We're really being embraced by the industry. I just say absolutely go for it. In fact, in my class, I think there's a third of us, a female. I was not expecting that at all.
How many is it?
So my deck class, there are I think 22 or 23 of us, and there are 7 girls. So that is, I think, the largest proportion of girls to boys.
Good to talk. We're very envious that where you're off to for your first assignment. I'm sure the next one might be a dredger or something like that.
Yeah,
maybe.
Exactly. But I haven't told actually that dredgers are a lot of fun as well.
Maybe we need a follow-up interview at sea. We'll book our tickets as well. We'll see you there. But no, Zoe, thank you very much for your time. Pleasure talking to you. I know you've got to get back and talk to all these new potential cadets. So You go and get on with that. And thanks for your time.
Thank you.
People and their stories. This is Full Ahead, the podcast about ships and shipping.
Even more places, venturing as far as South America and sailing up the Amazon. All I can say is the engine room was hot.
So great chatting to Zoe there, obviously one of the cadets at the start of her journey at Fleetwood, and very much on the deck side, but I know there's this big divide in the maritime world, but now we're speaking to someone who does the proper work, I think is what would be said. So Ross, welcome to the Full Head podcast. You're slightly further down the line in your cadetship. Just tell us where you are first of all in that story of time.
So I'm very, very near the end. They call it phase 6, and I'm just coming to the end. I've got 2 exams next week, and that'll be me finished. When I worked on the super yacht, I was pointed in this direction, and they were the ones that said, why didn't you do engineering? Because from a young age, and when I was on the super yacht, I was helping out loads with like fixing of the engines or any maintenance tasks. And then I was also helping my dad back at home with the tanks and the military vehicles that we own. And I was like, well, let's try and merge both worlds and become a marine engineer.
When you look at the engine room, my father was a marine engineer. I mean, the stories that he told have kind of been in diesel engines and never seen daylight and coming home, like Alistair describes, covered, caked in muck. We would be in engine rooms of big ferries, not cruise liners, and they're immaculate and also surprisingly cool as well. They're not as the hot kind of inferno they used to be.
Well, I'd say it depends where you are. I think the Amazon was boiling when we got to sail. When Aurora sailed up the Amazon, the temperature outside might have been 40. You could probably double it in the engine room. It was hot. Yeah. It was really hot. But I'd still not change it. Still enjoyed it. Still loved getting stuck in, being able to take things apart, put things back together, learn, and work my way up from being a third to maybe chief one day.
So what happens next? You've got these 2 exams, and best of luck with those. I don't want to take too much time away from your revising, I'm sure, but what happens after that? Do you go and then work for your sponsoring company? Are you committed to go and work for them?
So yes, I am. I have to go and work for them for 3 years, which I'm really looking forward to. And hopefully I'll get back on one of the ships I've already been on. So I've got prior experience and know how the ship works. But it could be on any P&O or Cunard cruise ship.
This is Full Ahead.
So we've met some great students who've been studying here from all walks of life. There's an engine room with a deck as well. I didn't know there was such rivalry between deck and engine. I didn't know it was such a thing, but apparently it is.
Yeah, it seems to be still. I think both work equally hard, but each other thinks the other one's working less hard, I think. But the people we've met so far have got no background in maritime. They've just kind of come into it in various different ways. But we're now joined by a family where there's a real background and history of maritime, and maybe we could ask them to introduce themselves.
Welcome, how are you?
Very well, thanks. Alan Salisbury, and I'm a Liverpool pilot. Been at sea since I left school.
Wow.
So 16, so it's been a while now.
And you've got 2 of your family members here as well. Go and introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm Erica, Alan's daughter. I'm a Phase 1 Carnival deck cadet.
Yeah, my name's Harry, and I'm Phase 5 cadets.
And you were saying before you actually have another member of family who's actually at sea as well.
He's qualified, yeah. Our Connor's he's second mate now, but he came through Fleetwood as well. So.
Salt runs through your blood and the salt water. Hey, go on, Erica, kick off with yourself then first. What was the attraction? What was the appeal for a maritime career?
Well, obviously with my dad being a pilot and then with my brothers doing it, I sort of thought it looks interesting, so I thought I'd follow them in a way.
You're Phase 1, meaning you're just doing your first 6 months, and so you're about to head onto a vessel fairly soon then. Do you know where you're going yet?
I'm going on the Queen Mary 2 on the 5th of September till the 11th of January. So.
Wow, what a great first ship. That's amazing, isn't it? Mine starting small, like starting big, isn't it?
Yeah, it's exciting.
When you heard about that, what were your thoughts? Have you steered, because she's been to Liverpool many times?
Yeah, she has been to Liverpool, and as it transpires, when the 4 Queens are coming to Liverpool in 2 years, and then she'll be your last phase, seagoing phase then, so we're trying to get her lined up for that as well, and get her involved with that. But yeah, it's an amazing first ship. Mine wasn't quite salubrious. I was in Fawley, Southampton for my first ship on a Shell oil tanker, so it wasn't quite as. And then Harry didn't get quite as exotic.
What did you get?
So I'm with James Fisher, so I work on product and chemical tankers. My first trip was mostly in Immingham and Aberdeen. So I've only left the North Sea twice to go to the Baltic Sea instead in the winter months. So. But you do get lots of rough seas in the North Sea, so it hardens you up, I suppose.
And you're Phase 5, you said.
Correct.
So that's the last phase then? You're nearing the end of your journey at Fleetwood?
Yeah, exactly. I'm on my last phase, so it's just always preparation. And my graduation's tomorrow as well.
And how have you enjoyed your time at Fleetwood?
Yeah, it's been really good. You meet all sorts of different people from all around the country, and coming from abroad as well. And you get a really good experience, learning all new skills. And yeah, it's very good.
So when you finish and you graduate and you do this final oral exam, are you heading back to work for James Fisher's? Is that how it works?
Yes, so there's a good chance they'll offer me a job in the future for my first trip as third officer. At the same time, though, I'll achieve a Officer Watch Unlimited ticket, so I'll be able to go and work on any type of ship once I'm finished.
Well, I don't know about you, Alistair, I'm feeling proud for Dad. Never mind. So how does Dad feel having all these fabulous people go into the maritime industry?
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, it's a unique field. I fell into it by accident more than anything else, because my father was a butcher by trade, so there was no history, but it was a careers day and a nice coloured brochure that came round, and I thought, well, that was quite interesting. But to see them all, the three of them now up and running, and it's nice, and it's a nice, it's a unique lifestyle. It's a way of life rather than a job as such. So there is something quite unique to it, and I don't think it's promulgated enough through schools in general or through the wider sort of UK sort of. For an island nation, not many people know about this career path as such. It's very, I think it's sort of undersold as such.
The alarm's been sounded. If not, you'll sound the alarm. And what we do is, before we go to the risk, we always test the fire extinguisher first.
So the Open Day is all about practical experience as well as talking about what the future might hold career-wise. And we've come outside into the blazing hot sunshine to see a blaze.
Yeah, I think things are about to hot up entirely. We're here for a firefighting demonstration because cadets that start at Fleetwood in their very first kind of term, they learn about firefighting. They do the basic firefighting course. We're joined by Gary Oliver. Gary, why is it important that students get their head around fire very quickly?
I think the basis, one of the things we get over to the students is that should you be unfortunate enough in your house on land on terra firma, you can call the fire brigade out. In the middle of the Atlantic or the Pacific, unfortunately, you don't have options that way, so it's basically deal with it yourselves, and that's why we give them the basic knowledge, basic training, basic skills, and we build them up from fire extinguishers, the first aid firefighting equipment, identifying the fires, the appropriate classifier and what extinguisher we should be using on them. We then go into safe movement, search and rescue, breathing apparatus, working in cosmetic smoke initially, just to give the students a taster of what's going on, and then obviously the live fire search and rescue later on, and dealing with the fire's internal situations.
I'm guessing the voice of experience here, but has firefighting capability on ships and offshore, has it changed over the years?
It has, but also the dynamics of fire have changed over the years, certainly with the advent of the EV vehicles, EV batteries, lithium-ion batteries, phones, laptops. They're every part of everyday life now. So the actual way we deal with fires, especially on ships, has changed. It's the same with land-based firefighting as well. It's changed the dynamic of what we're actually dealing with.
Fire's gone out. Round of applause there, please, folks.
Hi, so I'm Lizzie Dykes. I'm the Head of Maritime Operations here at Fleetwood Nautical Campus. At the minute we are in our main bridge simulator titled Sirius, and I'll just hand you over to my colleague Izuru, who is our programme leader for all of our maritime commercial short courses.
At the moment we're in the main bridge sim, which is the main the facility we have to train the future navigators to how to navigate the ship. So we have multiple courses here. We normally program to get different outcomes. So we have the MNTB, the Merchant Navy Training Board. So they have guidelines to conduct certain training. So abiding by that, so we develop our courses, and also not only that, and we have commercial courses as well. So like the companies, the shipping companies, they sometimes want to do some bespoke courses. So they send the officers, young officers, junior officers, sometimes senior officers. So it's like a refreshing sort of every maybe 5 years or maybe whenever they require. So they wanted us to carry out certain training. So we do such training as well. So
this is probably the busiest bridge I've ever been on. I don't know about you, Alistair.
Yeah, so we have 5 bridges. Unfortunately, 4 of them is occupied because we are running a course at the moment, right? So this is the only bigger one we have. So, but normally for other open days, we have all 5 bridges available. Won't get this busy at once.
I'm deliberately facing in the other direction. I'm famously seasick, and on the bridge simulator at the moment with prospective cadets all gathered around, there's a fast rib boat bobbing around, zooming around San Francisco Bay and Alcatraz Island, and if you watch the big screens for too long, you do start feeling a little bit nauseous, shall we say. So I'm definitely looking the other way, but just the level of interest. I think whenever we take people on ships, Nigel, when we go on a ship, when you arrive on the bridge, it's always a kind of magical moment. And we've been walking around the college and we've had some great conversations and great chats, but when you walk onto this simulated bridge, you still get that same sense of excitement, and maybe that's what really grasps people on the deck side particularly to come and work at sea?
Those are fresh cadets. They're not been to sea. Though they have not seen a ship, I'm like realistically, they have not been on a bridge. So it's we have the opportunity here because this is more realistic. The equipment that we have, the radars, the ecdysis, and the control systems, it replicates the same what you have on board ship. So once they have their hands on here, so they're not new to the ship that they go on. So because when I was trained 20 years back, we didn't have these facilities. So we straight away went to aspect, and so it will take about a month or more than that to get accustomed with the setup. So now the new cadets have the opportunity with these sort of facilities, so they'll immediately have that hands-on experience. So they're not an alien on a ship.
Well, the podcast has been to a few unusual places in its short life, and I'm certainly enjoying seeing this one. It's a simulator, but it's probably as real life as you're going to get. I'm in front of a pool of water. It's about 6 metres deep. It's about 15 metres wide. And any minute now, a group of students from the Fleetwood Nautical Campus are about to jump in and be rescued. Let's see what happens. The wave machine is now working. You can hear the sound of the storm as well in the last few minutes. It's certainly whipped up. In the pool there's a life raft, there's a diver just for safety's sake, he's there making sure everything's okay, and there's 4 or 5 students who I think are willing to jump into the pool at any moment. Have you been volunteered or voluntold?
I was voluntold. They're like, you're going to go swim now? I'm like, oh okay, I can't wait.
And this isn't your first time doing this, is it?
This is.
This is your first time?
Yeah, I can't wait.
What made you want to do it?
I just love to swim, love the ocean, and it was getting kind of warm, and I was like, why not? It looks amazing. It looks like it really is settling what it could be like out at sea, and with the lights off as well, that's just like adds extra like realism to it, and I love that.
Here we go, at a moment of no return.
Step off, you know your sea drills, pinch your nose, grab your wrist, keep your arms in.
Okay, to add to the drama, a smoke machine has now kicked in, so it's no longer just clear, it's now smoky, and you can hear in the background the sound of the wind. This is pretty lifelike, actually. First of 5 students here about to jump off into the pool here at Fleetwood, and there he goes. Easy as that. And the second one about to do it is following his mate into the water. That was number 2. Number 3 about to go in. This storm is getting worse, I think. You having second thoughts?
Looks great.
Looks great.
Yeah, looks great.
Good look.
Can't wait.
And they're all swimming on the back as instructed. I mean, this could literally save their lives. We see all the drama's nearly over now. The students are making their way back into and out the life rafts. It's an amazing facility.
Yeah, no, fantastic. When you get the waves going, when you get the wind going, the wind noise, they turn the lights off and simulate darkness, and the students who are now in the sea are going to simulate a helicopter rescue by being winched back out. And I thought these were highly trained cadets. Turns out that was their first time jumping off, so I think they've done a grand job, and really encouraging the next generation of cadets to come and see what being at sea is all about. Unfortunately, sometimes you end up in the sea, it seems.
Well, it does seem like hours ago since we arrived at the college. I feel I've been through a hurricane, I've been at sea, I've been marooned, I've nearly been seasick in the bridge simulator. It was so good, it was excellent, very lifelike. What do you think?
Yeah, no, it's been a really good afternoon, and seems to be a really good vibe, maybe the hot weather helping, but yeah, everyone we've spoken to is really enthusiastic about the maritime world, whether it be current cadets, whether it be the sponsoring companies, or even just the staff and the teachers. Everyone's got a really good vibe. It seems like a really great place to come and learn about how to go to sea. But we're joined by Neil again. Neil, head of this campus. How's the day gone for you?
Oh, it's been fantastic. We've had students who are still a little bit young to come, but they've taken a lot of guidance on their career choices, getting the maths, the English, the science and the qualifications they need to join us. We've got students who are actually due to start in September, coming for another look round before they join us, and everything in between. So it's been really refreshing to see that there is still an interest in a career at sea from the students, whether they're going to be deck, engine, electrotechnical officers, so it's been an absolutely wonderful day for us.
I think what I've seen as well is you see some of the young people coming round, maybe with their mum and dads, looking a bit nervous, not quite sure if it's for them, but then you see some people who are 6 months into it, just at the end of phase 1, and the kind of confidence they have, they're different people. They seem to be able to speak confidently, enthuse about it, maybe a bit nervous about going onto that first ship and going to sea, but I think somehow this gives people real confidence. I don't know why that is, but it seems to.
We heard from Ross, didn't we, one of the engineers who's been, I think, around Norway to the Amazon and back as well. He's looking forward to hopefully a bright career with Carnival as well. I mean, do you see that all the time, that people come here literally as boys and girls and leave as men and women?
We do, and we notice a difference within the first week, because students will arrive with us on a Sunday afternoon in civilian clothes, effectively, having not met many people. Monday morning we put them in the uniform, and they start to gel with people that maybe have come from the same area as them or within the same company as them. And by the end of the first week, there are completely different cohort of students. We do an awful lot on the enrichment side as well. So yes, we've got the academics, but we've got those soft skills, the leadership skills and everything that we've got to build up. And that's one of the key things for us. By the time they leave us after their first phase, they're ready to go and integrate and join on board a ship full of adults. So it's a really important part of what we do. So it's interesting you've noticed it, which is really good.
I'm convinced that listeners listening to this podcast, maybe not them, maybe they'll get their kids to listen to the podcast, but if people are interested in Fleetwood Nautical Campus, a career at sea, what should they do?
So the simple thing, Fleetwood Nautical Campus, just Google us. We are about to change to become Fleetwood Nautical College. All the social media will be updated. Website's there, download a prospectus, come and visit us on the next one of these events. And then for careers at sea in general, the industry itself has a website called Careers at Sea, where you've got a lot of independent information from all the colleges, all the companies, that's held together by the Merchant Navy Training Board, which will provide all the information that they need. And if they've got a real burning desire, just get in touch with us here at the campus and we'll look after them.
Neil, thank you for your time today. It's been really brilliant, and every success with your next cohort of students.
Thank you very much indeed. You're more than welcome.
And thanks to everyone who spoke to us at Fleetwood Nautical Campus. We had a really great day. You can see lots of pictures and video too on our social media channels.
So until next time, thanks again for listening to the Full Ahead podcast, proudly sponsored by Stena Line, the Irish Sea's leading ferry company.